is Deanna, and our practice today will be centered on a particular pose. So I call these practices a meditation on a pose. And by meditation, I mean that we're going to study it, we're going to break it down, we're going to talk about the meaning behind the pose, and get really intimate with just this one particular pose. So we'll start with some warm-ups and kind of visit this shape of the pose in various ways before we practice the peak pose. The pose we're going to focus on today is called Gomukasana Pose. Begins with the letter G, excuse me, Gomukasana. And so the word go as a root in Sanskrit is often interpreted as cow, but it also refers to our senses. And the way that our senses are things that we take in from the outside world, and it has an influence on our minds. And it can either nourish our minds. So if we're looking at a beautiful sunset or the ocean, that's something that can really nourish our minds. If we're listening to a beautiful piece of music or a beautiful poem, or if we're putting some luxurious lotion on our bodies, these are all different ways that our senses can nourish us. So go also refers to this idea of the senses and the way they nourish the mind. And then another part of this word is muk. So Gomukasana. So muk is often translated as face, right? So the name of this pose is generally cow face pose. But I like to take it a little deeper and explore some of the more subtle meaning behind this. So in addition to face, mukha can also mean an aspect of, a facet of, a gateway, or a passageway. So we put that together with the go and the senses. It's this idea of the senses being a gateway, right? A gateway to our state of mind, our state of being. So we can get really calm and still by being in a pose like this. It's a seated posture that really asks us to just be in this pose and find some stillness, find some moments that we can find this nourishment for our senses, for our minds. So another thing about this pose is that the sacred cow is often said to provide sustenance, sustainability, and is also a connection to the earth. Traditionally, the cow in Indian culture is revered as a holy animal and represents abundance and the embodiment of the sacred. In the Hindu tradition, the cow, Nandi is the name of the cow, is a vehicle upon which Lord Shiva rides, and also is a central figure in the life of Krishna. So these are some of the main yogic deities in Hindu tradition. And Krishna is a form of Vishnu, who is the sustainer of the universe. So these figures of the cow appear in a lot of these different stories as a figure of nourishment and a symbol of abundance. So if you have a cow, you have wealth, right? So we'll explore this pose more now on a physical level. We're going to start on our backs and just nourish ourselves with a little breath work, start to go inward, and we'll gradually explore the subtleties of the physical aspects, which will include some hip work as well as some shoulder work. So go ahead and I'll meet you on your back. What you're going to need for practice today before we go, a couple of blocks. So if you have yoga blocks, if you don't, a cushion would work here. We're mostly going to use these as a prop to sit on. You're also going to need a belt. So if you don't have a yoga belt, grab a belt from your closet or scarf, because this pose has this position of the arms. And for many of us, if our arm bones are not quite long enough or our flexibility is not quite there, we're going to need a strap to be able to connect our arms in our back body. So make sure you have those things available for you for your practice. And then I will meet you on your back. And you can just set those props aside. We don't need them right now. All right. So first you could perhaps have a pillow under your head, a folded blanket, a sofa cushion, and we're just going to come down and start with our feet flat and our knees bent. And this is often referred to as constructive rest position. If you wish, you could even let your knees drop in and widen your feet if that feels good. And then just settle here. Come to focus on your breathing by allowing the belly to rise and fall with your breath. So if we want our breath to be nourishing for our mind, body, and spirit, we want that breath to be a little more on the subtle level. So we're not breathing really heavy. We want that breath to go downward, so the diaphragm moves down when we breathe in, as opposed to our chest kind of taking in all that air and the diaphragm never moves down. So see if you can get a sense as you breathe in on a soft, subtle level. Sense the diaphragm moving down toward your pelvic floor and the pelvic floor softening with the movement of the diaphragm down. And as you exhale, allow the pelvic floor and the diaphragm to come back to starting. So diaphragm is moving back up. And as you inhale, that diaphragm is moving down, the belly is inflating, the pelvic floor is releasing, and we're getting a nice breath into the area of our lungs. Imagine that breath, I've talked about this before, imagine the breath like a soft, subtle rainfall that penetrates deeply into the earth. So that harsh, hard, heavy rain is not going to nourish the earth. Just like our heavy, more forceful breath is not going to have that same nourishing quality as if we breathe in that softness as if it's a gentle rain. So breathing in and out through your nose as if the breath were a soft, gentle rain, nourishing your lungs, nourishing your mind, your body, your spirit. So now we'll take about 3 more breaths here, just like that, and I'm going to not talk for those 3 breaths to give you a moment to really appreciate this nourishing quality. After that 3rd nourishing breath, if your knees are together, go ahead and separate your knees and have your knees and your feet about hips distance apart. And we're going to take the arms up into a full body stretch. So you might want to take that pillow out now. We're not going to need that for a little bit. So just reach the arms overhead in like a full body stretch. And as you do so, notice if your ribs do this and pop up away from the ground and creating a back bend. I don't want you to do that. I want you to keep those back ribs planted. And you might feel a little tone in your abdomen as you plant those back ribs. So see if they can make that happen. If not, you might need to widen your arms or bend your elbows. So do what you need to do to find length without popping your ribs. Now from here, we're going to take our right arm and tuck it behind the back of the head. So I'm going to use my left because I'm facing you, but I want you to do your right. So I'm going to kind of roll over to the side and tuck my hand down to my upper middle back. And then this opposite arm is going to just hold that elbow in place and draw it toward the midline. And as you do that, you might initially get a little stretch here along the outer shoulder, through the tricep muscle. And we're just going to hold it there for a moment. Now, since this will be your right arm is overhead, you're going to take your left leg and cross it over. So whichever arm is overhead, the opposite leg is going to be in the front. So this starts to look a little bit like our Gomukasana pose, but not quite as intense since we're not seated yet, not quite as much demand on our hips, and we're not in the full pose of the shoulders. But now from here, we're going to drop the legs. So I'm going to kind of walk my right foot to the right and drop my legs over to the right. So my right arm is behind the head, my left leg is on top, and then I'm dropping the legs over to the right into a bit of a twist, just to start to open this area here in the outer hip. So that's a big piece of this pose. Now you might kind of squeeze your legs, like let's see, actually the foot, the shin, squeeze it into the other leg to create some resistance. And pull back through your left hip a bit. Press the arms down, and then we'll have a breath or two here. Holding the twist, another breath. And then from here, we're first going to start to bring the legs back up. Uncross, and then release your arms and let the arms come down at your side. Okay. So we'll try them on the other side. So inhale, the arms reach overhead without popping your ribs. And then we're going to take the left arm behind the back of your head. So the hand goes to the mid-upper back. The forearm is behind your head, and you can hold that elbow in place with your right hand. So now my left arm overhead, or your left arm, then I'm going to take the right leg on top. So I hope that's not too confusing. I just wanted to start so that you would be able to see what I was doing. And then from here, like offset the hips just a little bit and drop the legs over to that left side. And then you can create that resistance by pressing that right shin or ankle into the left leg and drawing back through this hip. So draw your right hip toward the right without moving it. It's not going to go anywhere. It's just that energetic pull that helps open the tissues. Nice, full, subtle, soft breath into the abdomen. And that diaphragm move downward. All right, I'm going to slowly release again. So go ahead and bring the legs out, even yourself out, and release your arm. And let those arms come down at your side. Hold there for another breath. And then from here, we're going to come over to one side, and we'll come on up into a seated posture. So in your seated posture, you might wish to have a cushion. So I'm going to grab my meditation cushion to sit on that. Whatever feels right for you. You can also sit up on a block of folded blanket. And we'll come into Sukhasana. So Sukhasana is our basic cross-leg position. We're crossing at our shins, and our feet kind of come underneath the knees. We're going to widen out the sit bones and pull them slightly back so that you feel like your base of your spine is right on the ground. Okay, grab one of your blocks. Guess I should have had you grab that before setting all that up. So if it's not within reach, grab your block, set all that up again, pulling the sitting bones slightly back and apart. And then we're going to take the block into our hands and press the hands into the block as we take that block straight up overhead. Good. Now as we take the block overhead, we're not popping the ribs, so try to avoid that back bend. We're in a neutral spine, chin level with the floor. Reach that block up as high as you can. At the same time, equally draw downward with your sit bones. And then from here, we're going to bend the elbows and bring the block behind the back of the head. Try to bring the elbows in as you do that. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, keep the length in your spine as you bend the elbows down and then squeeze in. Good. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale down. Now hold it. Squeeze the elbows in. Lift the elbows up without popping your ribs. Hold here another breath. And then we're going to release. Take that block up and let it come down. All right, hold for a moment. Good, and then we're going to take the right arm out to the side, straight up toward the ceiling, and we'll take it behind the head like we did when we were on our backs. Hold on one moment. I just want to grab my volume here so I can adjust the music. If you're one of my regular students, you might notice I'm using music again today. I found some copyright-free music, so I'm hoping that it'll work for my YouTube channel, so we'll see how that goes. Let's try that again. Bring the arm behind the back of your head, hold the elbow, chin level with the floor, and now press your head and arm into each other and reach those elbows up toward the ceiling. Hold here one more breath. Good, and then release those arms. And let's try the other side. Reach the arm up. Really lengthen it like you're going to touch the ceiling. And then bring it behind your back. Hold onto the elbow. And then we're going to try and lift that elbow high as we can and then press the head back into the arm into the head. Try not to pop your ribs. Let's hold here for another moment. Good, and then release that. We're going to make fists. Bring those fists together behind the small of your back. So right near the top of your sacrum, the triangular bone at the base of your spine, and then try to get the shoulder heads back, lifting through the crown of your head. We're going to take an inhale here, exhale. We're going to side bend over to the right, pulling that sacrum down, and then look to your left shoulder. Good. Inhale through center. Exhale to the other side. You're going to turn your head to look over that shoulder. And let's do that again. Inhale, center. Exhale. And again, inhale, center. And exhale. The head turns the opposite way that we're side bending. Good. And release that. Maybe roll the shoulders out, shake it out. Okay. So from here, if you haven't changed your legs at all, let's go ahead and do that. Bring the opposite shin in the front. Again, you might widen out your sit bones, pull them back in apart. And then let's repeat, right arm up, take it behind the back of the head, hold onto the elbow. Inhale, reach up tall, and now this time side bend, just like we did with the fists behind. Keep that tailbone pulling down. Maybe you'll look over to that other side. And then inhale up through center, 2 more. Exhale, side bend, reach through that arm. And then come up. And one more time. Good, and then release that arm. Let's try the other side. Inhale, left arm up. Tuck it behind your head. Hold the elbow. Inhale, reach that elbow up. Exhale, side bend to your right. Look to your left if you can. The head is too much, you can skip it. And you're reaching through that elbow as you come into that side bend. One more time. Good, and then we'll release that again. Roll the shoulders out. One more little preparation here, seated. I'm going to take the right arm out to the side, turn your thumb down. Bring that arm up your back. So bring it up as high as it'll comfortably go. So it's somewhere maybe between your shoulder blades. And press your hand into your back without popping your ribs. So maintain a little core stability here. Lift through the crown of your head. And now with your opposite hand, nudge that shoulder back. If you've been coming to class the last week or two, we've been working on that. Nudge that shoulder back, and then let's drop the ear to the opposite shoulder. Get a nice stretch in through the neck muscles. Maybe you dip your head forward and back. Good, and then head comes center. Release that right arm. And then we'll do the other side. Left arm out to the side, turn your thumb down. Swing that arm up your back. You can help it with your other hand if you like. And then press the hand into your back. Don't pop the ribs, maintain your core stability, and then nudge that shoulder head back without twisting. And then you can keep that hand there, nudging that shoulder back. Drop your head toward the opposite shoulder. Keep pressing your hand into your back. And then maybe a little nod forward and back. Stay with a nice soft breath. And then we're going to release that and just roll it out, shake it out, whatever you need to do. Okay, let's come into tabletop pose next. And we're going to work a little bit more of the legs here now. So if you need padding under your knees, go ahead and place something down. If you're on a hard floor, if you're on carpet, you'd probably be okay. And we'll do a few cat-cows, and then we're going to add some variation onto that. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Keep a little tone in your abdomen. And then take an inhale, and on your next exhale, we'll round the spine. So drop the tailbone, lift the abdomen, push through the hands, and let the head come down as if your head and tailbone could meet. Reverse it. Inhale, looking forward, sit bones, gaze, lift. Exhale, round, push into the ground. Draw the tailbone forward. And let's do two more. Last round. And then we'll come back to a neutral tabletop. Let's just take a brief break off the arms by coming into a child's pose. So in this child's pose, if we can, let's walk the arms forward. So we're creating that length through the side body. Send your sit bones back. And then if you want to go a little bit further, bring your palms together into like a prayer position. And see if you can take your palms behind the back of your head and nudge your elbows forward. So kind of walk them forward. While you're here, press into the elbows a little bit to activate the arms. All right, let the arms come down and slowly start to walk yourself back up. And we'll come into our tabletop position once again. Changing it up this time, we're going to take the right foot forward and wrap it around till your legs are crossed. So I'm going to show it this way so you can see. All right. So my right knee is stacked in front of my left knee, and I'm going to try and take my feet out to the sides a bit. Hold here. Take an inhale. As you exhale, squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. And now let's add on. Inhale, slight lift of your chest and your gaze, slight back bend. And as you exhale, coming into cat, rounding your spine. Squeeze your inner thighs. And then repeat. Inhale, looking forward, slight cow pose. Exhale into a cat pose. Now, if you want, we can add on here. You can stay with this. Inhale, looking forward. Exhale, rounding. Those of you want to go a little further, shift your hips back like child's pose. And you might go just a little bit. You might go a lot. You might go all the way back, letting your head drop between your arms. And then repeat. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, either just rounding your spine or moving back toward a child's pose with those Gomukasana legs. So these are the same legs in our final pose. One more time. Then you're just going to stay with a mindful movement. This is a meditation on a pose. So we want to stay really present, mindful. Uncross those legs. Rather than rushing through a quick practice, we want to really nourish ourselves with this slower movement. Other side, take the left leg in the front. Take your feet away from center. And then squeeze your inner thighs on your exhale. Now if you want to do the next part, we're going to inhale, slight cow. Exhale into a cat. Squeeze the legs around the spine. And again. Stay focused, stay present, stay with your breath. Now next time, maybe coming into that pushing back if it feels right for you. You can always just stick with the cat-cow. Hips might not be ready for this, but if they are, go ahead and try. Even if you shift back just a little bit. It might not be as far as I am, that's okay. Squeeze the legs, draw the sit bones back, push forward with your hands. Last time. And then we're going to uncross those legs again. This time, walk your hands slightly forward of your shoulders. And we're going to come up into our first downward facing dog. So first, really press through your finger pads and have a sense of the palms turning open without turning them. It's like an isometric little corkscrew action. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up high, and then firm up through your arms. And let's pedal, warming up through those legs a bit more. Maybe shake your head out. All right, from here, bring your left foot to center. Cross your right foot in front so that you're crossed at your thighs. Legs are crossed. Push through your hands, firm your arms, and then we're going to bend those knees toward the ground and lift up onto the balls of the feet. Try again. Bend those knees any amount and lift up. One more time. Bend the knees and lift up high on the balls of your feet. bring your knees down if you need a brief break. If you can stay in your dog, stay in your dog. We're going to do the other side. All right. So coming up as you're ready, crossing that, I'm going to bring the right foot center, left foot crosses over. Have a little space between your feet. Squeeze your inner thighs. Inhale. Exhale, bend those knees any amount. Lift up high on the balls of the feet. Lift your sit bones. And exhale, bend any amount. So you might not go far, that's okay. A little flexibility in the feet as well. And then we uncross again, coming back to our regular dog. From here, let's look forward. Walk your feet to meet your hands. Inhale to a halfway lift, chest parallel to the floor. Exhale, fold forward, drawing in through your belly. Release your head. And then we'll inhale, come all the way up to stand, tailbone down, reach through your arms, and then release, arms at your side. And I'm just gonna come to face you guys, standing in mountain pose. So root through your legs and your feet, tone your belly, turn your palms open and extend through the crown of your head. As you inhale, circle the arms out to the sides and overhead. As you exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift, hands up on your thighs. Exhale, fold forward. You can have that slight bend in your knees. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. So if you know that it's challenging for you to be able to touch the ground, I want you to grab some blocks and just place them in front of you. Some of you might need them, some of you might not. And then from here, legs together, cross your right leg in front, and you're gonna be on the ball of that foot. So the legs are crossed. If you can actually place the foot down, try to level out your pelvis and squeeze your legs together. All right, just being mindful of your back knee especially. You're gonna compact in through your hips and your inner thighs, and then stand in mountain pose like that. Good. So it's a lot of leg crossing in this peak pose. So we're gonna really strengthen the adductors and the pelvic floor by this crossing motion. Inhale the arms up and overhead. As you exhale, hinge from your hip creases, fold forward, and either hands to the blocks or the floor. So I'll show what the blocks this round. Inhale to the halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. If you can, the legs are straight. Just try not to lock those knees. And then rooting through, like squeezing the inner thighs. We're gonna come all the way up. And then bring your hands in front of your heart. Good. Keep that right leg in front. Come back onto the ball of the foot if you're not there. Press your palms together, squeeze your inner thighs. And then from here, we're gonna take that left arm up and behind your head like we've been doing. Elbow is close in. Hold onto that elbow with the opposite arm, hand. Press through the feet, squeeze the inner thighs. Inhale, lift the arms up high. And then exhale, we're gonna side bend over to the right. So you're gonna stay really steady through the legs, compact your hips and inner thighs, and then reach through the elbow. Good, inhale, back up through center. Exhale, release your arms, step out of the pose. Shake it out if you need to, the knees. And then let's try the other side. So we're gonna bring the left foot in front, starting on the ball of the foot. If you can, bring that foot flat. Compact inward, hug the inner thighs, firm the hips, tone the belly. Arms at your side, Open the collarbones. Inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, hinge at your hip creases, fold forward. Taking your time, I'm going to show with the hands to the ground this time. And then inhale, either fingers on the floor for the halfway lift or hands up on your thigh or your blocks. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Good. From here, we'll come onto that ball of the foot if you're not there. Still hugging in. And now we'll take that right arm up, drop it behind the back, and you'll hold on to your elbow with your left hand. Inhale, reach tall, compact inward, and then side bend over towards your left. Really rooting through your feet, especially that ball of the foot. Head presses back toward the arm. And then inhale, release the arms, and step out of the pose. Good. Standing back in your mountain pose. Have another breath here. And let's do a couple of slow sun salutations just to get a little bit more warmed up in the body. So I'm going to stand at the top of my mat. If you're not there, I'll meet you there. Arms at your side, lift the belly, lengthen the tailbone. Reach the arms up on your next inhale. Let the movement be nourishing. Exhale, fold forward, little bend in those knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands can be on the floor, your shins, or your thighs. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to the top of a push-up, plank pose. Chest forward. You can always drop your knees. I'm going to show modifications. And then lower all the way down. Reach back through your feet. Roll your shoulders back. Pull your hands isometrically towards your feet as you curl up into a low cobra. And then dropping back down, down dog. You can come through knees if you like. Lifting those sit bones high. So we're moving at a nice slow pace. Breathe here, lifting those sit bones, firming the arms. One more breath. And then we'll look forward, walk your feet to meet your hands. Inhale to the halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Good, let's do that again. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lengthen. Step back, plank pose, top of a push-up. This time, if you like, you can lower halfway to chaturanga and shift into an up dog. So press through your feet, pull the arm bones back, and then downward facing dog. You can also just go right to a cobra. Hold here another breath, lift those sit bones, push through your hands. And then on your next exhale, walk your feet to meet your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Good. Let's change it up. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold forward. Oh, I'm going to pause for a second. Just fold. Let's widen the feet. Let's take a little bit longer. Hold opposite elbows and drop down. Have a little bend in your knees, but tip the sit bones up and the chest down. You can switch your arm crossing so the opposite arm is on the bottom.
touch those elbows toward the ground. And then bend your knees, hands to your hips. Strike your heels down, press up. Good. And now we're going to make sure we have our blocks, because some of us might want those for the lunge sequence. So grab your blocks and put them toward the top of your mat. And we'll come back to our mountain pose. Okay. Inhale, the arms reach. Exhale, fold, hands to blocks or the floor if you like. We're going to inhale, lengthen, and then step the right foot to the back of the mat. We're going to move the blocks back so they're in line with the front toes and slowly drop onto the back knee. I'm going to let the back toes be flat. That's your choice. Now, if you need to pad that back knee, it's going to be on the floor here for a little bit. Bring your hands up onto your front thigh. Let's neutralize the pelvis by lifting the low belly and lengthening the tailbone. And now my left leg is forward. So I'm going to take my right arm up and do the Gomukasana arm. So lifting that elbow high. Holding on with the other hand, and we're going to firm the inner thighs toward the center. Keep aiming your tailbone down, and on your next exhale, slide into your front knee. So we deepen into the lunge a little bit. Lift through the elbows, maybe dip back into a little back bend. And I'm really firming this right outer hip for stability here. Holding here, one more breath. And then next inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands down. Tuck the back toes, lift that knee, and we're gonna spin that heel down, cartwheel the arms up, and come into a warrior two position. So warrior two, we're bending deeply into that right knee, sending the left thigh back, so we feel really grounded through that back heel, and then centering the chest toward the long side of the mat. So your rib cage and your chest are centered over your pelvis. Try not to let this knee drop in, keep it nice and wide. Arms float out to a T, and look over your right fingers. Spread wide through your arms. Holding it here, another breath. Maybe bend a little deeper. And then from here, we're going to take the left hand behind your back and just kind of press it into your back. Turn your right palm up, and we'll come into reverse warrior with that hand behind your back. Now sometimes we wrap it for the opposite hip. I'm going for the back, so it's a little bit more like our Gomukasana. I'm going to reach through this top arm as I bend a little deeper. Push down and apart with your feet. Good. Now coming up, keep that arm where it is and come into side angle. So I'm going to bring right forearm onto the thigh, and this hand is still behind my back. And I'm going to nudge this shoulder head back. Press down and apart with your feet. Pull the tailbone slightly in and reach through your spine. Maybe you're going to look up. That's too unstable. Keep it forward or even down. And then from here, we're going to release that top arm. Reach it up and over the ear for a moment. And then press into the feet. Rise up, warrior two. And we straighten that leg and parallel the feet. Pause here for a moment. All right, so we're going to grab our strap. And we will repeat this on the other side, but for now, take your strap into your right hand and drop it behind your back. Hold that elbow. Lift both elbows high, lengthen the side body, aiming your tailbone down, firming your legs. And then release that left arm out to the side. Flip your thumb down, swing it up your back, and try to pull on the strap. Good, bend your knees a little bit. Inhale, lift through your chest. As you exhale, starting to hinge forward. And you might come about halfway, that might be good. Pull on your strap, lengthen your spine. If you want, fold forward all the way. We're still bending the knees a little bit. Nudge your left shoulder head back and pull on the strap a bit. Lift your sit bones equally up. One more breath, lengthen through your spine. And then to come out, we're going to bend the knees and start to reach the chest forward. Push through the feet. Use your legs. Slowly coming up. Release the top arm. Release the bottom arm. Set that strap right in the front, and we'll get back to that later. And then we're going to come back through Warrior 2 to the right side. And then cartwheel your hands down. Step back, downward facing dog. Step your right foot in front of your left foot. Widen the feet a bit, bend your knees, and lift up. Slide your right knee toward your right wrist. Bring your left shin straight back, and see if you can sit back toward your foot. And you might even sit on your foot. So perineum and the heel are making contact. If that's too much, you can take that foot out from under you and sit like in a kind of half Gomukasana. Sit up tall, shoulders back. If all of these are not feeling good, you could sit on your knees. You can sit in Sukhasana, just cross your shins. Okay, let's walk it forward. Uncross the legs, come back to your downward facing dog. And we're going to go through that sequence on the other side. So look forward, walk your feet to meet your hands. Notice I'm not doing a lot of jumping today. I want this to be really mindful. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rising all the way up, tailbone down, lift through your ribs, and exhale, hands to your heart. Okay, let's try the other side. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold, blocks if you were using them. We're lengthening halfway, stepping that left foot back. Move your blocks back. Drop down onto that back knee, patting it if you wish. Toes flat or tucked, and then we come up, hands on thigh. Neutralize your pelvis. Right leg is forward, so I take the left arm up, so it's opposites. And then take that hand behind the back, hold on with the other hand. Hug toward the midline with your inner thighs. Inhale, and as you exhale, slide into your front knee. And then maybe leaning back into a bit of a back bend, reaching through that top elbow. Rooting through the front foot and the back foot. One more breath. And then inhale, arms up. Bring your hands back to the blocks or the floor. Tuck the toes, lift that back knee. Now I'm going to spin that heel down and come into Warrior 2. I'm going to change position so I make sure that I stay facing you. So you're in your Warrior 2. Bending into that left knee, right thigh bone back, squaring your chest. Float the arms out to the sides and look over your left fingers. Reach out wide. Good, now from here, we're going to take that right hand, swing it up your back, left palm up, coming into a reverse warrior. So I'm going to bend a little deeper into that front knee, reach, pressing your hand into your back. Now as I come up, I'm going to keep that hand in position, and place forearm on the thigh. Nudge that top shoulder back. Lengthen through the rib cage. And then you might look up if it doesn't feel unstable for you. We're pressing this bottom arm into the thigh. We're not collapsing. Press down and apart with your feet and pull your tailbone in a little bit. Okay, from here, liberate that top arm. Reach it up and over your ear for a moment, spinning that pinky finger down, lengthen. And then we'll rise back up into warrior two. Straighten the leg, parallel your feet. All right, grab the strap again. This time, strap is going to be in your left hand. So take that arm and you're going to hold onto the elbow, keep it close in, firm your legs, feet are parallel. And then release the right hand, turn your thumb down, swing it up your back. And then we pull on the strap. Bend your knees a little bit. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, maybe coming halfway. If this is too much, just stay upright. Maybe folding all the way. Once you've got it, pulling on the strap, nudging that bottom shoulder back. Lifting the sit bones evenly, keep a slight bend in your knees. Press down and apart with your feet. Last breath. And then to come out, bend the knees more, push through your heels, pull on the strap, use your legs. Come all the way up, and then release your arms. Set that strap in the front. Coming back to your warrior two towards your left side. Good. From here, cartwheel your hands down to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Bring your left foot in front. Separate your feet a little bit. Bend your knees, draw your hips back. And then slide your left knee toward your left wrist. Bring your right shin straight back and see if you can sit back on your heel with the other leg crossed on top. Now again, modify if this is too much. You can take your foot out from under you. You can sit in Sukhasana. You can just sit back on your heels. Pause here for a moment, shoulders back. And then slowly coming forward, uncross, coming back up, downward facing dog. And then look forward, walk your feet to meet your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands down to your heart. Good. I'm going to come to face you again. We're almost done with the standing work, and we're going to come down onto the floor in a moment. Place your hands on your hips. Actually, you might want to have, hold on 1 second. You might want to have your blocks on either side of your feet. So we're going to do eagle pose, which is a little bit similar to our Gomukasana. So we're almost there to this peak pose. We're going to bend the knees, draw your hip creases back, and then we're going to take the right foot, cross it over, and place it on the block. And here we're squeezing those legs, compacting in. Same work we've been doing. Now, if you feel steady, you can pick that foot up and tuck it behind. So we're in a full eagle leg, and we're squeezing in. Good. Compact your belly. And then arms can fly out wide. You can stay with that, or take your left arm on top, shoulder hug, or eagle arms. So intertwine, press the arms and palms into each other. You can stay here or you can fold forward, in which case you might put that foot down on the block for steadiness. Squeeze in, squeeze in. Send your booty back and your chest forward. Tuck your chin a little bit and just bow inward. One more breath, maybe reach the elbows forward. And then we're going to slowly unwind and step out of the pose. Good. Have a breath here. And let's try the other side. Bring your hands onto your hips, bend your knees. Foot crosses over, you can stay there or try your balance. Tuck those toes behind your calf. Fly the arms out. You might just work on this, or we're gonna take that right arm on top, shoulder hug, stage 1, eagle arms, stage 2. Stage 3, we're gonna lift up a little bit first and then fold forward, maybe bringing that foot onto the block for steadiness. If you're comfortable, you can stay with the balance. Good. Squeeze in, inner thighs, arms, tuck your chin, maybe reaching those elbows forward. Breathing here, maybe coming a little lower. Sticking your tailbone out, chest reaching forward. And then on your next inhale, press down, release, coming up. Good, standing in mountain pose, have a breath. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift, and then we're gonna bend the knees, come down into a squat, and then grab a block and sit on that block, okay? So if you need to, you could also go for 2 blocks. Just adjusting my props here, okay? So, from the sitting on the block, take your right foot over toward the left, bringing your knee towards center. And then we're going to cross this foot in front initially. And just stay here, lifting your chest, lifting the crown of your head. Now, if you want to go further, start to walk this left foot over, and we start to stack the knees on top of each other. So this is the base of our Gomukasana, our cow face pose. So if this is too challenging, you can also just stay in that half position that I showed you, or take Sukhasana where we cross the shins. Now I'm not adding the legs yet, I just want to get you accustomed to sitting here, compacting inward through the inner thighs, zippering up through the chest, the low belly to the chest, lifting through the crown of your head. And let's just bring palms together. Press the palms together, open through the chest. Nourish yourself with the breath. Nourish yourself through your senses. Now you might stay here, or we can start to fold forward. I'm hinging from the hip creases, keeping my shoulders back as long as I can, and allowing myself to come down toward this top thigh. Maybe lock your hands out and let your head come down. Walk those feet away from center. Breathing here, another moment. And then we're going to slowly start to walk up. So this is one of my favorite things to do is we're going to try and turn so the opposite leg is on top. Watch for a moment. It's a pretty cool little yoga trick. My feet stay where they are. I'm going to lift my hips. I'm going to bring my hands over to the right. lift my hips. Now my feet are not moving. I'm gonna turn around, turn around, turn around. And voila, as I make my way around, now my other leg is going to be on the top. Good. So if that didn't work, just do it again and just come into the pose however you can. Sitting up tall. Squeeze those legs in, compact. Zipper up the low belly, and let's bring hands to heart for a moment. Staying there or starting to lift up. So lift up first and then try to hinge forward. Maybe the hands come out, maybe you could walk it out a little bit. And staying there for a few breath cycles. Slowly, slowly starting to walk yourself out. We're gonna lean back and uncross the legs, and we'll come off of the block for a moment. Stretch your legs out. Do a little windshield wiper, a little bounce. Okay, so we're almost there, but I want to do a little bit more preparation for the upper body, and then we're gonna put all of that together. So from here, we're gonna come on our backs and do a recline version of Gomukasana with just the upper body. So watch for a moment. It's very similar to what we just did in the beginning, very beginning, but we're gonna add a piece on. Right arm, reach it up overhead, lengthen, lengthen, and then tuck it behind your head. So that's the first arm. Now the second arm needs to also get behind our back. So I'm gonna roll to my right, take my left arm, thumb down, swing it up my back, and then roll back so that the bottom arm is tucked behind my back, the top arm is reaching up and over behind my head. I want to nudge that bottom shoulder down, and if this feels pretty mild, I might drop my knees toward the bottom arm, so toward my left arm. It gives a little extra weight to that arm. And now hold it here a few breaths. You might even take your left foot on the outer right thigh for a little extra stretch through the hips. Nice nourishing breath into the belly. One more. Let yourself drop into it. And then we're going to release that top foot, bring the knees back up if you drop them. And then I'm going to just first take the top arm out, roll to my right, bring this left hand on my shoulder and circle it. And then I drop back, and we'll do the other side. So now left arm is going to reach up and tuck behind my head. I'm going to roll to my left, take my right arm, thumb down, swing it behind my back, work it up, and then roll back. Now again, if this is enough, stay here or drop your knees to the right. Maybe the right foot on top of the left leg. Try to stay as even as you can through your spine. And breathing here. So this is pretty deep. If this is too much, release that top foot, keep the knees up. Drop into the ground, nudging that bottom shoulder back. Last breath. And then we're going to release that top foot. up and we're gonna release the top arm. Roll to the left and then circle. Just to release. And then we'll come all the way through the side and come on up into a seated posture. Okay, so if you know that you felt a little limited in that first stage of Gomukasana when we just did the legs, continue to use a block. Now, if you felt like it was pretty mild for your legs, your knees, and your hips, you could go directly on the floor. Some of you could even try it sitting on the heel. So there's a couple different ways we can do this posture. I'm going to show it kind of middle of the road, where I'm not going to sit on my heel, but I'm going to show that to you first. So right foot, you might sit on the heel and then cross this other leg over. And then it looks like this. But then we've got to try and balance as we do the arms, right? So that could be a little tricky. So I'm going to do the bringing that foot out from under me, stack up my knees, coming into the Gomukasana legs. Again, you might sit up on a prop. So maybe I'm going to grab a blanket instead of a block. See how that feels. That feels pretty good. Okay. So once I've got the legs set, I'm going to need my strap again. Hopefully you left it in the front. Squeeze those inner thighs towards each other. So that helps us, like, I think it was a toothpaste tube. When we squeeze it, the contents pop up. We squeeze those legs, we can help the spine lift. Now, my left leg is on top. So I'm going to mirror you. I'm going to take my strap in my right hand, take it up, drop it behind my back. And then hold on with that other hand, bring the elbows in and up without popping the ribs. And then from here, release that left arm out to the side. Turn your thumb down. Lean forward a little bit. See if you can swing that arm up nice and high. And then you're going to come back up. So this is kind of that full pose now. Those of you who can, if your arms are long enough and you're flexible enough, you can clasp your hands instead of holding the strap. My arms are a little too short. And then pull on the strap, reaching that top elbow up high and nudging the bottom shoulder back. You can flex your feet, rooting down slightly to help you lift up. And then either staying here or forward fold. Pulling on the strap, lengthening your spine. Keep that bottom shoulder back. Reach through the top elbow. Press your head into your forearm to keep a little bit more spinal extension. And then to come out, pull on the strap. Inhale. Rise up. And then we let go of the top arm, let go of the bottom arm, and then kind of shake it out a little bit. Another thing I like to do here is take a little side bend. Put my left hand on the floor, reach my right arm up and over, and this leg is pinned down by my top leg, so I get a really nice juicy stretch to the side body. Spin that pinky finger, reach. And then slowly come up. And let's try that fancy twist again. So now my feet stay where they are right now. My left leg is on top. I'm gonna switch around. My feet stay where they are. And now my right leg is on the top. Okay, so if that didn't work, you'll need to just come into it however you can. Squeezing in through the middle, trying to stack those knees, little flex to the feet, root the feet down, root the sit bones down to help us lift up. Let me grab that strap. So now with my right leg on top, I'm taking the strap into my left hand. Hold the elbow, bring the elbow in. Lift both elbows up high. Press your head and your forearm into each other. And then we release, thumb down, reach up your back, grab that strap, and try to keep the Hands as close together as you can, if not clasping the hands. Nudge that shoulder back. Keep your chin level with the floor as you pull on the strap and lengthen your spine. Maybe close your eyes now. Find that nourishment of the pose. So there's a lot of containment in this pose. My legs are kind of pinned down, my arms are bound by straps. So I'm finding a lot of stillness in body and mind. Now if you want, you can also come into a forward fold. So forward fold, we want to first lengthen, pull on that strap, and then hinge forward. And as you hinge forward, try to pull on the strap, lengthen through the top elbow, and nudge the bottom shoulder back. Holding it here, another breath. And then to come out, pull on the strap, inhale, reaching through your chest. Come up, let go of the top strap, undo your arms, maybe roll it out, shake it out. So you now did the Gomukasana full pose, cow face. Walk the right hand out, left arm up and over into a side stretch. Spinning the pinky finger downward, maybe bending that elbow. And then slowly rising back up. Lean back, take your legs out. Oh, that should feel nice now. Maybe bounce it out a little bit, wiggle it out. All right, let's bring soles of the feet together for one bound angle to even ourselves out. You can stay right here, lengthening your spine, or one more forward fold. Maybe clasp your hands around your toes and fold. Find that nourishing breath. On your next inhale, slowly coming out. Know that you can always stay longer in any of these poses. You can pause your video. Let's draw the knees up. But for time's sake, we're going to start to wind things down now. We're going to come onto our backs again. So grab what you need for like a shavasana. We're going to not be there quite yet. Maybe a pillow for your head. And maybe something for your knees. So I like to roll the blanket up and put your blocks about where your knees would go. And then this could go on top, and it'll be a nice little shelf for the backs of your knees, but not there just yet. So come on down and first bring those knees into your chest. Take the legs up, and we're going to do Gomukasana one more time. Flex your feet, and then swing your right leg in front of your left leg. Squeeze those inner thighs, and then bend the knees so that the feet go away from center. And then you're either going to just pull the knees into your chest. You can hold behind. You could hold your shins, ankles, or edges of your feet. Depending on how this feels, what I would like for you to avoid is a big rounding of your spine into the ground. So if you're rounding your spine, go a little bit more modified and hold behind your legs, okay? Close your eyes or find a steady gaze. Maybe you could rock side to side. Coming back to stillness, hold for another moment. And then let's release. Take the legs up, circle your feet around a few times. And then swing the left leg in the front, bend the knees, feet go away from center, And you're either gonna hold behind or on top or ankles or feet. Pulling those feet away from center, keep them a little flexed. And then maybe you wanna rock side to side. Maybe the eyes could close. Going inward. And come back to stillness. Hold for another moment. Tailbone down and heavy. Shoulders relaxed. And then we'll release. Take the legs up and circle. Both directions a few times. And then we'll hug the knees in. And if you wish, you can come into happy baby. So now the knees are wide, the feet are facing the sky, and you can hold legs, ankles, or feet. Let the tailbone drop down so the lower back is lengthened and the shoulders are down away from our ears. Press your feet into your hands, hands into your feet, and let those knees go wide. If you don't like you don't like happy baby, you can just go with a knee hug. Good, and then we'll bring those knees back in one more time. And now, Shavasana. So I'm going to let those legs drape over, making sure that the blanket and block go directly under the backs of the knees. If not, adjust. You might cover up if you're cold, put an eye covering. Your strap actually could work as a nice little eye covering. You could put that over your eyes so that you go inward with your senses to help nourish. I'm going to be coming up in a moment, but I want you to stay for a little bit longer in your restful pose. So make any adjustments that you need to and let your body drop into the ground. Letting the breath quiet and become subtle. That gentle rain-like breath nourishing your lungs, allowing the rise and fall of your abdomen. Alright, so I'm going to come out, go ahead and stay where you are. Noticing your level of nourishment at the end of the practice. So this slow movement, working with all of these kind of seated grounding postures, a nice nourishing breath, moments of allowing the eyes to be closed. And as we start to drift into relaxation, we might ask of ourselves, in my daily living, do my senses nourish my brain, my body, my spirit, or do my senses overwhelm me? Do they overstimulate me? What am I taking in on a regular basis through my eyes, through my ears, through my taste, through my skin? Are these things nourishing me? Do I give myself time to appreciate beauty of a sunset, or savor a flavor in my mouth? Do I take time to listen to someone speaking to me, or am I already jumping ahead to the next thing I wish to say? So in these last few moments, letting your senses nourish you, hearing sounds around you, feeling the air on your skin and the ground beneath you, feeling the nourishment of your breath, and then drifting
every exhale a little more deeply into your Shavasana. As you rest for a little bit longer, I'm going to share a reading with you from Panache Desai's Discovering Your Soul Signature. This is the chapter on love, but it really spoke to me about this idea of nourishment. The thing called love reveals itself in so many different ways. We are good at loving parts of ourselves, but not so good at loving all that we are. We embrace our best qualities and close our eyes to what we consider to be the worst. Our shame, our anger, our pain, our sorrow. We are stingy with ourselves in a way we could never be with our closest loved ones. Imagine the way a mother cares for her newborn child. Can you imagine treating yourself with such focus and generosity and reverence, such compassion and kindness? Here are some crucial questions. Are we feeding ourselves? With whom are we surrounding ourselves? How are we choosing to show up in each moment? What is the tone of our inner voice? Is it an angry teacher or a beneficent presence? Just for today, focus on the way you love yourself. This is not a selfish thing to do. On the contrary, it is the greatest gift you can offer to everyone in your life. The more you are filled with love, the more you can be available to everyone around you in a spacious and gracious way. So just for today, know that you deserve your own love. Feel yourself as if you're the most beautiful china bowl. Fill and refill yourself with this love. There is no end to it. As you rest, the sound of that rest of one who is filled with peace and contentment, and know that love is all around you. And should you forget for a moment that this is the case, you need look no further than within. So taking your time and starting to deepen your breath, move a little bit. If you wish, you could always stay longer in your Shavasana, but I want to make sure that we don't take too much time of your day today with this practice. So when you're ready, either staying where you are and I'll close out, or you can join me in a seated position by slowly deepening your breath, wiggling fingers and toes, and gradually coming up to a seated posture. Once you arrive there, go ahead and perhaps widen out the sit bones again. Sit up on your cushion, your blanket. Get really grounded. Lengthen up through your spine. Let the shoulders soften. And close your eyes. Tune inward. Nourish yourself with your breath. That life-giving cow, that symbol of abundance. Fill yourself up like that china bowl with your breath, with your self-care. Allow your senses to work for you rather than against you. nourishing, soft breath. The face be soft like you're still in a deep state of Shavasana. Now you are welcome to stay longer in your seated meditation. We're going to bring hands together in front of the heart space if you are ready to close. Have a nice deep inhalation, and as you exhale, bow your head to your heart. And thank you so much, everyone. Namaste. All right, I hope you enjoyed this meditation on Gomukasana. And keep some of these things in mind as you go about your week. How are my senses nourishing me, or perhaps overstimulating or depleting me? And I will see you next time. Have a great day. Thank you.